Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to 2CTV, your global news channel. We come to you guys with some breaking news, this time from Israel. This is a follow-up update on what we reported a few hours ago. Unfortunately, we have some sad and very dark twist to this whole saga of what's been going on with the hostages, especially the 4 who were released today, their bodies in coffins. Unfortunately, Shiri Bibas, the mother, the wife, the body is still missing. The authorities in Israel have conducted their investigation. We have some updates on what the forensic actually confirmed in regards to the 2 babies, and of course the body of someone who was supposed to be Shiri. Unfortunately, it's not her. And of course, we are waiting as we speak for official reaction and response from the Israeli government. Everybody seems to be extremely outraged, rightly so, across the country in Israel, even though it's already very late over there. Let's give you guys the statement we have from the Israeli Defense Forces. After completing the identification process by the National Center for Forensic Medicine, in cooperation with the Israeli police, IDF representatives informed the Bibas family that their loved ones, Ariel and Kfir Bibas, of blessed memory, have been identified. According to the assessment of the professional authorities, in accordance with the intelligence available to us and forensic findings from the identification process, Ariel and Kfir Bibas, the late, were brutally murdered in captivity in November 2023. Only a month after they were taken. Now, during the identification process, it was found that the additional body received was not that of Shiri Bibas, and no match was found for any other abductees. It is an anonymous body without identification. They also said this is a very serious violation by Hamas terrorist organization, which is required by the agreement to return 4 dead abductees. We demand that they return Shiri home along with all of our abductees. The late Ariel Bibas, 4 years old at the time of his death, and Kfir Bibas, 10 months old. 10 at the time of his death, were kidnapped with their mother Shiri Bibas from their home in Nir Oz. Yarden Bibas, the father of the family, went out to protect them and was kidnapped before Shiri and the children were kidnapped. Yarden was returned as part of the agreement to return the kidnapped on the 1st of February. Now, they also said that we share the deep sorrow of the Bibas family at this difficult time and will continue to make every effort to return Shiri and all the kidnapped hostages. Now, this is yet another violation. We should expect a very robust response from the Israeli government. Of course, it's late over there. We will wait until tomorrow morning and afternoon to find out the reaction from the government, from the Prime Minister and everybody else. Israel has also decided to make an announcement in regards to what they want to do on Saturday. But I think we have to take this moment as a tribute to the Bibas family and of course all the others as well who have lost their lives and who have lost their loved ones in Israel. Let's go to this. Since October the 7th, there's been a chant across the world, especially in Israel. Bring them home. Bring them back. I believe that statement is incorrect. There's a reason. It plays right into the hand of the Islamists. You are putting the pressure solely on the Israeli government. Of course, the Israeli government, like any other government, their responsibility is to keep their people safe. We fully get that. And they're doing all they can. But when you chant, bring them home, you are telling your government to bring them home. Should say send them home. The command and the demand must go straight and directly to Gaza. They have to get the message. Send them home. It's not bring them home. And this whole thing has created an atmosphere of chaos and uncertainty, of course, with all the debate around what's been happening since 2023. Saturday, the IDF have just confirmed that the hostages release and the prisoners exchange is expected to take place as planned. Israel will continue with the agreement for now. They have also said that this violation by Islamists in Gaza will be dealt with severely. This is the actual statement. Will be dealt with severely. We'll find out what the reaction is going to be. Now, it's hard for a lot of people, especially Israelis. Tonight, as we reported earlier, those in Tel Aviv also had to deal with yet another terrorist attack. The IDF are already responding, which is extremely important in regards to what's actually going on in that area. The IDF have sent 3 battalions to Judea and Samaria, or the West Bank. Following the attempted attack in Tel Aviv, they have now deployed their additional forces to reinforce in Judea and Samaria, in the whole region. Starting tomorrow morning, the operation will begin. The operation includes the manhunt, but also to clean up, once again, the area that is supposed to be under the responsibility of Mahmoud Abbas, the useless leader of the Palestinian Authority. Now, as we said, the Israelis have also confirmed that they will continue to carry on with the agreement as planned. They will not pause this unless we hear something else in the morning or tomorrow afternoon from the Prime Minister and the leadership of the War Cabinet in general. For now, everything will go as normal, but they will also, as they have confirmed, will deal with the nutters. Tonight is all about the Bibas family and Shiri. Where is she? Where is her body? Is she alive? Is it some sort of weird psychotic tactic to use as leverage? Or do they think they're playing mind games, they're being clever? And then once again, they will be releasing her dead body in the future when they're forced. We don't know. Coco Foco says, I think that some Hamas rapists wanted Shiri to be his wife, killed her kids, and she's held as someone's wife in Gaza. It's a very, very messed up situation to think, because think about a lot of people who are concerned about all those who are still in Gaza. Obviously not the families, but a lot of other Israelis, they are still concerned. And some people were saying, if we find out that a hostage had immediately died after being taken to Gaza, then we could say at least that they didn't suffer much, not for too long. And on that, what's better at this point? If you find out that Shiri actually did die immediately, almost immediately, she didn't suffer too long, or she's still alive and being tortured. It's a very, very effed up situation, especially for those who have their loved ones there. The longer they're there, what they are doing to them. You saw the 3 guys who were released a couple of weeks ago, the way they looked. They have confirmed that the Bibas babies, they were brutally murdered shortly after being taken to Gaza. Bibas family, and primarily Kafir, who was 10 months old, didn't even see his first birthday or the second birthday. People were saying, oh, okay, well, they're there. They're going to release them eventually. Second birthday, first birthday, third birthday is coming. He didn't get to see any of that. Super chat from Hebrews. How many levels of evil are there? Many. And Nina says, sick country, rest in peace, little ones. Not a real country, of course. But yes. Sophia says, I am sickened. These people need to F off. There has to be a proper response, of course. Angela says, Israel responds, and somehow the hostages will be dead. Because they probably already are. So sad, but Hamas will carry on. Hamas will carry on mind games. They have nothing to gain. This is just the last few attempts of desperation. There's no way they can win this. There's no way they can survive. Joyce says, my God, killing babies and now this. I just can't believe what is happening and how people can actually support them. You don't want to open that door again, because I can rant for like half an hour on the evil of those who live in a so-called civilized democratic societies who continue to support this sort of behavior because they believe that the Islamists are the underdogs, are the victims here. How easy is it to manipulate some humans on this planet? Very. Seems to be very easy. If you have your own subjective opinion on something and you create a scenario in your head that your subjective opinion is a fact, that's you lying to yourself so much that you actually start to believe your own lies. They believe they are the victims. And this mentality, obviously, psychologically has been promoted since the 7th century anyway. There are a lot of people who have been questioning all the other ideologies that's been poisoning our world, including radical ideas like Marxism, which also comes hand in hand with being victims. All these psychologically go back to history of when victimhood became a thing as a tactic and strategy. Islam became the pioneer in this. On the one hand, you are a confident fighter for the cause, for the prophets, for the book. You fight, jihad. When you lose, you are always the victim. And you repeat the same cycle. I'm sure the intelligence agencies have people inside of Gaza, but the public are not to be informed. I'm sure they have their own people. We have seen Hamas slaughtering a lot of the Gazans, who they said they were opposing Hamas, but a lot of them could have been Mossad assets as well. There are a lot of people in the West Bank area, of course. Nancy from Canada says, we will remember you, sweet ones, always. We will remember. I hope. And Vinny says, I am not ashamed of my tears today. IDF, retaliate. I think that's what the majority of good people on this planet tonight are thinking, like Vinny King. Retaliate, not just for the sake of your own people, but for the sake of humanity. Let's not forget, we are all humans on this planet. And if you act like a human, like a normal, civilized human, you deserve respect, you deserve to be protected. That's what we always say on this channel, TCTV. We always support anybody around the world. It's a global channel, of course. Anybody who believes in life and freedom, we will support. Those who believe in destruction and evil, we will oppose. A lot of people around the world who are awake right now and have heard about this update from everywhere would rightly be expecting Israel to fight back. It also sends the right message to the rest of our governments who claim that they look after us. If something like this happens to people in Britain, will we actually see proper retaliation from Starmer's government on our behalf? I don't know, if tomorrow the French government invade us, not that they would, will we actually have safety and protection? Helena Gross says Free Palestine, which goes hand in hand with her surname, Gross. And now she's spamming by copy and pasting. So we are going to be banning Helena and deporting her from the live chat. Say goodbye to Helena Gross. I'm not calling it Gross, it's Gross. Pablo says bring back Shiri Bibas. Dead or alive, the family deserve closure. The father has gone through so much since that day. Now, a lot of people have been going through so much chaos. Normal people in Israel, people even living in Tel Aviv, they're still in danger every day, right? We get it. One person, specifically one person right now, has not just been going through hell. He came out of hell, he went back into it. When he was kidnapped with his family on that day, that was the beginning of the journey through hell. He was then told, if you remember, about a year ago, they told him that your wife and your kids are dead. And they said that the IDF did the airstrike, right? Obviously, that was false. Since then, he was still held in captivity. And then he was released a couple of weeks ago, right? A few weeks ago. He wasn't expecting the rest of the family to come back. Then he found out that they're all dead. Then he had to wait today for the bodies. And then they had to open the coffin to realize Shiri is not even there. Imagine what's going through his head right now. And the rest of his family. The rest of her family. They don't even know where she is. They don't even know what's happened. Is she alive? Is she not? One family is going through hell even more than everybody else right now. And of course, let's not forget about the remaining hostages as well and their families, not to undermine any of that. One man is back in hell. Remember, it was an innocent Pirates, that's the like pirates but Palestinian, that kidnapped that mother and her babies. Yeah, absolutely. That was one of the biggest reminders to everybody is just go watch the videos again. For those of you, if you're watching, if you're a journalist or if you have had access, obviously I was given the full uncut video of that day. Obviously as journalists we were given this. It was, I don't know how to describe. I can't just say it was rough, it was sad, it was disgusting. It was something else. When you, if you have seen the full uncut version, it's something that's not human. It's something you might have read in history books about ancient wars and conflicts or whatever that happened, barbarians. And what you see is the amount of people who were civilians, not soldiers, not fighters, and what they did. Bad. Because you can still try to be, I don't know, assessing wars and conflicts and, one man's terrorist is another man's hero and all that nonsense, right? From a perspective of a Hamas soldier, they think the Jews are the bad guys, right? It's their job. I'm a soldier for Hamas, right? Blah, blah, blah. Civilians? Their hatred is not really just about hating the Jews. It's the level of hatred that they have in their brain. The level of hate as a concept in their brain is on a whole new level. That is not human anymore. Not in this century. Heather says, doing nothing equals loss of humanity of the West. I agree. And Arthur is correct. That's the right chant. Send them back. Not bring them back. We already know, and they already know, everybody knows that the Israeli government has a responsibility to protect their people. But when you chant, bring them home, you put the responsibility solely on the Israeli government. It's not their job. Hamas needs to send them home. Send the message to them and the international community, not just the Israeli government. Those who say bring him home doesn't do much. Misha says, does Trump realize the problem is Islam? Of course, I mean, Trump was outspoken against this ideology years ago. Even in 2014, 2015, he was talking about that. He knows. And he's seen the documentary now. He's seen the full footage now when he became president again. Cecilia says, absolutely horrific for that poor man. Dear God, give him strength and comfort, along with the millions worldwide who mourn with him and Israel. Absolutely. Dia says, actually, Maya, I saw even worse videos than that when I visited the IDF last year. Now, well, Hannah says the mom could be alive. I mean, as I said, what's worse? If you find out she died immediately in November, October, or that she's still alive and suffering. Lyndon says, I suspect that the hate-consumed terrorists did not want the world to witness the cruelty shown to the poor mother. She had a look in her eyes of fear when taken. I mean, it's not appropriate right now to completely speculate, but obviously one has to. You might think she's not alive, but what they did to her, they don't want it to be released. They don't want it to be known. And they would probably say, oh, we didn't actually realize we sent the wrong body. We've lost her because Gaza is a mess, right? They could use that as an excuse to say, oh, we assumed that was her. Our records are incorrect on our paperwork, blah, 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 right? But they don't want the body to be identified because it might expose even worse things than even what happened on that day. Esty says, moved to see your footage of the gathering in London today. A Jewish community also dignified. My thoughts are with the Jewish community on this unbelievably sad day. The disgusting thing about this is that there will be enough Palestinian civilians who tonight would use this update when they hear about this to celebrate again, to not just celebrate, to see it as a victory. They see everything as a small victory, like we won another battle, right? Because they know they're not going to win the whole thing. It's over. But they will be using any tiny battle, say, yeah, this is a win, that's a win, which again simply increases the level of hate that they have in their brains. Charles says, sadly, our government will invite more in. Well, Keir Starmer has already agreed. That's the problem. Not even vetting people's backgrounds. We're just bringing people in without knowing who they are. Look at Rotherham for an example of what those people are capable of. No matter what land they are in, they are all the same. Again, we've been saying for a long time. Right now, the focus is mostly about the Islamists in the so-called Palestinian territory rather than just all the other people who were born into Islam. But it would be nice if those, I've been saying it for a long time, it would be nice if those who do claim to be obviously just culturally Muslim and, westernized and whatever they want to call it, like a moderate, any label you want to use, come out more, speak out more, do something, anything, campaign, join the patriotic movements, whatever you have. Otherwise, people are going to put you in the same category. And then people are going to go say, well, I don't see a difference. If you do Islam, you do Islam. It's the same thing. What's the end goal? Obviously, the ideology itself must be opposed. And there's a lot of ex-Muslims now. They're becoming more brave. Let's not forget, those who were born into that world, it wasn't their choice. They're born into that world. And it's not easy for people to leave it because things could happen to you. So those who do leave it and become ex-Muslims, protect them, support them, praise them. It's not an easy thing. People in the West don't understand how hard it is if you're born in that world. Like Mr. Ross said, well, leave Islam, do it. Obviously, yes, but it's not easy. It's not like, people in the West working for a company and saying, I'm going to quit, or I'm going to stop supporting this football club, or I'm going to vote for a different party. You will die. Ira says, thank you. From the beginning, I was saying we should demand let them go. Yes, instead of bring him home. Now, there is going to be more reaction to this, obviously. I think there's a meeting again in the morning with the IDF leadership to discuss what will be announced on Monday. And of course, when the Israeli politicians gather, there will be more pressure on Netanyahu's government. Obviously, mostly from the political right and the conservative side in Israel. I would like to see what the liberal left-wingers in Tel Aviv are thinking right now. The left-wing liberals in the city of Tel Aviv, who continue to have different priorities, which is the destruction of their own country and government. Priority is to attack their own people instead of protecting their own people. Are they going to be quiet tomorrow morning? Or are they going to be actually supporting their forces, families, their government, their prime minister, who's trying his best? You don't have to agree with everything in terms of domestic policies of the Netanyahu. You can still have your ideological differences. But it's only one team in that country. Carl says, boils my blood to see pro-Palestinian marchers every week on the streets of the UK and knowing what this lot have done. And sweet honey, thank you very much. I actually met someone today at the vigil who was with the crowd and supporting the Israelis. And she said to me, she's a Brit, I think. She was originally background-wise Greek, but in Britain. She said a year and a half ago, after October the 7th, she actually, at the beginning, went to the pro-Palestinian march. Because she believed what the mainstream media was reporting, that the IDF and Israel were basically, the Jews were the bad guys and they're doing genocide. So she actually naively went to the pro-Palestinian march. And she wore the whole kafir thing. And she saw what was happening inside. And that changed her mind. So there have been a lot of people, you might have seen, especially when I'm talking about London, the beginning of all this in 2023, and they started, by the way, coming out, the pro-Palestinians, on the night, on the 7th of October, before Israel retaliated. They came out to celebrate the next day as well. And then, obviously, when Israel retaliated, obviously, they came out to say genocide. There have been a lot of naive people who went, and they stopped going. Those crowds were huge at the beginning. Massive crowds. It's getting smaller and smaller. So, be nice to those who might have gone to that side, but they've come out, they've changed their mind. People change their minds. People are young and they're left wing, for example, and then they stop paying taxes and they realize, oh, it's probably best not to be a socialist. It's a stupid idea. And Jews and Christians today, we saw great unity again. Union Jack, Israeli flags. Both sides are finally supporting each other even more than before. We've seen, when we did the protest, this was about the Hindus in Bangladesh. We had the Jews coming out to support them. We had the Christians coming out to support them. We've seen what's been going on in Congo. We've seen what's been going on in Nigeria. We've been reporting on 2CTV. Christians are being slaughtered. And now we're actually getting all the other groups finally supporting each other, which is very good. We live in a globalized world. You don't have to be a globalist. You shouldn't be a politically globalist. But we live in a globalized world. Patriots, nationalists, those who believe in humanity and life and freedom, whether you're a Hindu, Christian or Jew, whatever, support each other. And we are seeing it. Jews are now speaking out against what's happening to Christians in Congo, in Nigeria. Christians are speaking out about what's happening to Hindus in Bangladesh and other places. It's changing. Cannot allow a bunch of barbaric nutters change this world again, like what happened a few centuries ago. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me in another live stream. I'm Maya Tusi, and we are the media.